Back to the terror attack in Orlando, not unique to the nation we're talking about. One nation has been under siege since 1948, and survival is a daily battle for Israel, for a country literally surrounded by enemies. Security is of the utmost importance, always has been. What lessons can we learn from the Israelis when it comes to national security? Joining me now in a Fox Business exclusive, former Prime Minister of Israel, but also former Defense Minister Ehud Barak. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming. Could a Muslim man, like this evil person who pulled off a terror attack in Orlando, having been investigated twice by the Israeli equivalent of the FBI, being questioned, suspicious as heck, could he have ever been able to get a gun permit in Israel?
Even in much simpler case, a guy like this wouldn't be able to get permission to get any gun. Not to mention that in Israel, no one, including myself, I cannot get more than a simple handgun. People probably understand the American ethos about having weapons, but foreigners cannot understand why the hell you have to equip them with assault rifles. Why not Gatling or heavy machine guns or any other weapon? It sounds almost bizarre. So in Israel, you cannot get such a rifle, and this guy, or even much simpler cases, will never be able to get a gun. What
I do find interesting about Israel, though, is that their gun laws are extremely malleable, meaning you can change them if the defense minister deems it so. So, for example, when you have big terror attacks, as I understand it, I was reading about this in the Jerusalem Post, please tell me if I'm wrong, that sometimes they will lower the rank of officer who's allowed to have a gun permit. Like, it's usually captain, but in bad times they will lower it to staff sergeant. You can only get 50 bullets. One time 50 bullets, but at least you have them, and that the citizens of Israel, the Jewish citizens, or the Israelis, are basically seen as a multiplier effect for police who are trying to do their job.
Yeah, in Israel, first of all, it's a much more compact country. Secondly, you have such a fraction of the public is basically active soldiers. They are not in remote places. They are in the streets. They are walk. Many of them carry their guns with them. So in Israel, it's a little bit more complicated to initiate such an attack, but last week we had one, and we had many in the last half a year, and even in the last several years.
Well, let's talk about that. Last week, 3 people murdered by 2 cousins who came from, I believe, the West Bank. They were Palestinian. They couldn't get a gun. They made their own gun. It was a handmade gun, Prime Minister. What do you do? What should we be doing here in the United States? Because they're going to find a way.
I think, Israel is a little bit different situation, but I believe that you should first of all authorize the FBI to, probably under inspection of the Congress and some group of judges that will put on their heads, but authorize the FBI when it is really needed to delineate the line between, or the balance between, private rights of the citizens and the public safety in a little bit different manner according to situation. Secondly, you have to change or reform, modify the rules of carrying guns so that such a person won't be able to get any weapon. Thirdly, there is an issue of reporting. How do you know what really happens? The audio calls without locationing is not enough. You need video streaming based on smartphones and on video streaming. And in fact, I'm the chairman of Israeli startup who providing just this. Video streaming from the spot would immediately tell even the officers outside that there's nothing to waste time. You have to break in.
I have to ask, though, this guy was born in the U.S., but his parents are from Afghanistan. The father had pledged allegiance to the Taliban. This guy had pledged allegiance to perhaps one of the suicide bombers that had gone off and pulled something in Saudi Arabia. What would Israel do with a person like that who'd been identified and questioned by police?
No, I hinted to it earlier. Israeli secret services are allowed to profile. They are not looking the same way at a group of Buddhists who are living in Israel, or a group of...
So you're saying they look at Muslims differently?
Yeah, they look differently. They have the authority to do it. They do it under inspection of the of judges and some members of Knesset. But basically, it's something flexible and aimed at real results. You cannot demonize a whole religion. There's no sense in doing it. But there's no sense to ignore reality that at the present time, 2016, most of terror comes abroad, comes through radicalized Muslims. And it's a matter of fact. We cannot, I don't think that it really matters now whether they were ordered directly by someone in the headquarters.
They killed 50 people, 49. I don't count the terrorists.
In 2016, this whole organization of terror, a loosely connected web, can work through the internet, through the web. They can inspire people, and once the men are inspired, taking weapon, it doesn't matter who sent him, so to speak.
Former defense minister and former prime minister of Israel, Ehud Barak, saying we should give more latitude, perhaps, to investigators through some type of group of judges to make easier decisions and more quickly to haul people in. Thank you so much.